Want to save money in Tokyo? Then get ready for some after-hours karaoke.
On this week's travel show, we'll tell you why.
On the programme this week, Addie heads to a world-famous recording studio in the heart of Kingston. We take a 60-second stopover in Johannesburg, and our global guru Simon Calder's got advice for the best time to visit Peru.
Hello and welcome to the travel show, which this week comes to you from Tokyo. Now, it's no secret that this is one of the most expensive cities in the world to live in and to visit.
This year, tourists might expect it to be slightly more affordable because of a weakened yen. But can you really do Tokyo on a budget? I took up the challenge. More people are travelling to Japan than ever before, but the total number is still a lot lower than other Asian countries. Japan's government has announced a plan to catch up and double the number of tourists to 20 million by the time Tokyo hosts the Olympic Games in 2020. Now the fight is on to prove you can see the capital without breaking the bank.
Well, they've just introduced half-price tickets for foreigners from Narita Airport into Tokyo. So if you show your passport at the airport, you get a 50% discount.
That's a real saving because getting around the city isn't cheap, and taxis especially are expensive. Most foreign tourists know that they can get a discount on a Japan Rail Pass if you're wanting to take a high-speed train. But if you want to take the slow sightseeing route, you can get a free ride on a traditional Japanese boat, or wasen, at Yokojikenkawa Shinsui Park.
These boats are run by a tireless team of volunteers keen to keep the tradition alive. And if you're really lucky, they'll even let you have a go at trying to drive one of these magnificent vessels. Can you show me how? Okay. Left foot here. Okay, here. Push and pull. Okay. Push and pull. It's all in the wrist.
Good job, good job.
Good job. I got the thumbs up. Good job.
In terms of sightseeing, you can choose to do the more expensive thing, or you can choose a free option, which is, for example, going to the Metropolitan Government Observatory decks. There's 2 decks, and you're on the 45th floor. Amazing views. Apparently, on a clear day, you can see Mount Fuji.
There is, of course, the iconic Tokyo Tower.
And don't forget your passport. Konnichiwa.
Because if you can prove it's your birthday, you get a discount on entry and a free cake.
Keiki kudasai.
To be honest, I've had better cakes, but the view was well worth it. Where this city really hits you in the hip pocket is its hotels. Budget travellers have traditionally opted for a cramped capsule hotel. But if you think creatively, you can have a more unique Japanese experience for a very low price.
Many karaoke places here will offer a substantial discount after 11 p.m, which means you can rent a box for the whole night for as little as 1,800 yen. That's less than $20 US. What a bargain.
Karaoke venues range from hole-in-the-wall bars to spacious and luxurious rented rooms. All-night packages from 11 p.m. until 6 a.m. will vary from venue to venue, and there are always competitive prices to be found.
So this is my room for the night. Full
Well, it's a decent size, although the decor does leave a lot to be desired. My neighbours certainly are noisy. But what do you expect for $18 a night? Japan is also known for its manga cafes, but it's safe to say that most people don't even touch the local comics. They come here to surf the net.
Konbanwa.
The cafes also offer overnight packages. If you register before 9 p.m. till 4 a.m, you can get a private room starting from just under 1,400 yen. That's roughly $14.
And believe it or not, you even get free drinks and free soft serve ice cream. Now, you don't get that at a capsule hotel, do you?
There are communal bathrooms, including showers tucked behind an array of vending machines. My room this time was more of a wooden cubicle.
Well, at least you get a comfy pillow here, but there's not much privacy as these booths are quite open. You might want to bring a mask and some earplugs just in case your neighbour's a bit of a snorer.
If you're planning a trip to Japan, here are our travel show money-saving tips for exploring the country beyond the capital. Avoiding peak season is always a money saver. When the cherry blossoms bloom in spring and when the leaves turn in autumn, it will be more expensive to travel as people will be going there to catch a glimpse of these colourful gardens. Japan has some of the most expensive restaurants in the world, but it is possible to eat cheaply. You can buy a range of hot, cheap food from vending machines, and some fast food chains do bowls of noodles for as little as 260 yen, or roughly $2. And one way to experience Japanese culture on a budget is to visit temples, shrines, and traditional gardens. Kyoto, the country's ancient capital, has hundreds of these historic monuments. Some are completely free to visit, and others have low entrance fees of around 500 yen. That's roughly $5. Next up is this week's travel update. The shark cull introduced by authorities in Western Australia earlier this year has been blocked by the state's environment regulator, who says it could threaten the endangered great white shark. Thousands have protested against the practice, which was introduced after a series of fatal shark attacks. If you're coming to London for New Year's Eve, you'll now have to buy tickets to the city's fireworks celebrations. London's Mayor Boris Johnson insisted ticketing was essential to slash crowd numbers after 500,000 people attended last year. It will cost you £10 to attend, and only 100,000 tickets will be made available to the public. If you're a big Friends fan, you can now sip coffee in a cafe modelled on Central Perk, the coffee house regularly visited by the main characters of the television series. It's been opened in New York to mark the 20th anniversary of the first episode and includes a museum showcasing props such as costumes, signed scripts, Phoebe's guitar, and Joey's dog statue.
Still to come on this week's travel show.
Addie heads to Jamaica for a musical adventure, reggae style. And Simon Calder has information on what you can take in your luggage when flying to Turkey.
Travel Show, destination inspiration from the BBC.
Welcome to the slice of the show that tries to make your travelling life easier. Let's start with Daniel O'Keefe from Glasgow, who's looking well ahead. He tweeted at BBC Travel Show to ask,
I'm planning to travel to Peru in spring 2016. Do you know what the weather will be like? I have a mountain of debt. Is self-catering any good?
Daniel, I imagine you mean the northern spring of 2016, which corresponds to autumn or fall in southern hemisphere Peru. It's a tropical nation with a vast diversity of terrain. For example, hot and humid year-round in the Amazon rainforest, and in the capital Lima on the coast, there's a brief cool and damp spell between late May and mid-October. The big draw for many of us, of course, is the Inca heartland, the imperial capital Cusco, and the sacred valley that includes Machu Picchu. Here you should avoid the sometimes intense rains between January and March. May and June are ideal for tackling the Inca Trail, though it's also very popular then, so get your permit organised well ahead. The cost of travelling in Peru is low, and while self-catering isn't popular, there are plenty of cheap hotels, and when you're exploring the Andes, you'll probably be camping. Next, Jackie Sultan got in touch to ask,
are any jabs recommended for going to Mexico's Pacific coast? We're staying in Puerto Vallarta in August and September.
A great choice of destination, Jackie. I adore Puerto Vallarta and its surroundings. Sure, it's a big tourist destination, now with added non-stop flights from the UK, but besides the usual beach and bar scene, there's a lively town. You can explore a fascinating hinterland where the pace of life takes a siesta. Compared with many other locations in the tropics, Mexico's Pacific coast is relatively healthy territory. For any tropical travel though, it's good to have up-to-date protection against cholera, hepatitis A, tetanus and typhoid. I'm also fastidious about mosquitoes and cover up with clothing and repellent. While malaria isn't a risk, mosquitoes can carry all manner of other nasties, and their bites can ruin a holiday. Next, Gordon Bruce from Renfrewshire in Scotland asks,
what's the best option in terms of currency when in Bulgaria? Do you suggest buying the local currency in advance, or should I change money in Bulgaria using UK sterling or euros?
Well, last time I was lucky enough to visit this beautiful country to explore the Rila Mountains south of the capital Sofia, I did buy some Bulgarian currency in advance. However, when I got there, I discovered that some of the notes I'd been given were obsolete and effectively worthless. In all the cities and resort areas of Bulgaria, there are plenty of places to change money at good rates, and in future I'd simply take sterling and change it there. Like other parts of the Balkans, the main hard currency is the euro, so if you have some to hand, you could take them as a fallback, but I certainly wouldn't bother to change pounds to euros in advance. Finally, Emma Louise Hanson from Monmouthshire in Wales asks,
is it okay to put coconut oil in my checked-in luggage for a holiday in Turkey? I use it for health reasons, but I'm worried it isn't allowed.
Well, Emma Louise, it proved tricky getting a response from either the Turkish government or the tourist office here in London, but one of the leading airlines to Turkey told me we do not believe there's any restriction on entering Turkey with this item. Just ensure it's well protected in the suitcase to avoid any leakage. That's all for now, but if you've got a travel question, just email the travel show at bbc.co.uk. From me, Simon Calder, the Global Guru, bye for now and see you next time.
Sing, 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 sing. Everybody start to sing. La-dee-da, ho, ho, ho. Now you're singing with a swing.
Next up, we meet the people who make our cities tick. This week, we're in London's Covent Garden.
Oh, now you're singing with a swing.
And one eye.
Covent Garden is known as like the Mecca of street performing.
If you're ready. Okay, you've got to build the tension a little bit.
You've got traditional shows with unicycling and juggling. You've got straight jacket escapes. And I perform a hula hoop street theatre show.
this is where I train with my hula hoops in the day.
So delicious. It's hot, so delicious.
I really want a much bigger grand finale. Give it a go. So this is my grand finale trick that I'm working on to put in my street show, where I will be even higher in the air. Ooh. As you can see, it's quite hard. I'm about to perform in roughly 20 minutes.
I'm sorry, it's really hot.
My rituals before a show are to get very freaked out, sometimes cry a little bit, go to the loo a lot, but I know that as soon as I start the show, I'll enjoy myself. The space is a double-edged sword. The space is amazing. Now, ladies and gentlemen! And it really is like a theatre, which is wonderful, but it's very daunting because of that. Probably I'm at my happiest after a show, and that's what makes it worthwhile. I think the more scary it is, the better the feeling at the end.
And to end this week, we head to the Caribbean island of Jamaica and its musically rich capital, Kingston. The country is known globally for its reggae, so it's not surprising that music is one of the country's biggest industries after tourism, as Adi Adepitan discovered.
One good thing about music when it hits you.
If you're looking for a unique holidaying experience in Jamaica, then taking a musical tour of the capital is a must for any music lover.
Hit me with music, hit me with music now.
Reggae music emerged here back in the 60s, and the sounds which originated on the streets of Kingston fast became massive hits all over the world. Music is now one of Jamaica's biggest exports.
There are many musical tours on offer here. The one I've chosen is bespoke and run by Andrea Lewis, a music veteran who's been taking tourists around some of Kingston's iconic recording studios for years.
We offer customized tours in the music industry. We target music business personnel, people who come to Jamaica seeking information on the foundation of the Jamaican music.
We forward in this.
Our first stop on the music tour is 56 Hope Road, which is the most famous address in Jamaica.
Won't you help to sing?
It's the former home of the late Bob Marley, and it's been turned into a museum.
'Cause all I ever have.
He was responsible for putting reggae music on the international map way back in the 70s with his songs of freedom during a time of political upheaval here. Now, we're not allowed to film inside the Bob Marley Museum or take pictures. Instead, we're taken around the grounds, where along the way, I'm introduced to a man called Georgie, who actually lives at the museum.
Where I cook the porridge for him. Yeah.
The Georgie that Bob Marley refers to in No Woman No Cry when he says, "And Georgie, keep the fire light." The Georgie he's talking about is you.
Yeah.
And then Georgie would make the fire light.
My next stop is a record shop in downtown Kingston, which was the birthplace of rocksteady and lovers rock reggae music. Back in the 60s, Orange Street was known as the Hollywood of Jamaica due to the numbers of artists who used to hang out here.
Things do happen, words can't explain.
Now, you can't come to Jamaica without checking out the music, and I've come to Rockers International Record Shop, and this place has tunes, any type of Jamaican tune you want, you know, rocksteady, ska, reggae, the whole lot. So Mitchie, tell me about the history of this place.
The shop itself is the only one from that time till now that still has that old vintage look, that still sell vinyls on a regular basis.
What type of music could I expect to get here?
Well, you can get anything basically from ska, rocksteady, reggae, roots, dub, even R&B.
This shop is truly vintage, but our time is limited as we've got one more stop to make on the tour. All I've been told is that we're about to visit a studio on the other side of Kingston where Bob Marley and the Wailers recorded their first 4 albums.
We're up in Kingston where we have Harry J Studio, and this is going to be our next stop. People like Bob Marley, Jimmy Cliff, Burning Spear has recorded here, Grammy albums.
So what can we see in this studio?
Well, I'm hoping that there's a jam session going on today and that we can maybe pass through and see what, if they'll allow us to even hang out with them.
Wow, serious?
Now when I arrive, I'm treated to a live jamming session. The guys are responsible for some of the country's biggest ever reggae tracks. And it's here where I get the chance to join in on my first ever jamming session, reggae style.
Ladies and gentlemen, sit back and relax and enjoy a travel show version of the #1 hit single by Mr. Ansel Collins, Double Barrel. Yes! Woo!
Woo! Adi Adepitan practicing his tambourine skills there. Well, that's it for this week here in Tokyo.
If you've got any money-saving ideas whilst visiting Japan, then drop us a line at our usual email address, or why not send us a tweet on Twitter or write on our Facebook wall. All those details are on the screen now. Coming up next week...
Gremlin with one toe.
Adi's back with some of the best travel show moments from our recent adventures around the world, including the time I travelled to China to try my hand at graffiti at one of the world's most famous heritage sites.
I hope you can join us for that, but until then, from me, Carmen Roberts, and the rest of the travel show team here in Tokyo, it's goodbye.